What's up, everybody? It's Grim, and you're watching Thrash Maniac 99 Wrestling, Gaming, and Metal videos. Hit the real intro.
Hey, what's up, everybody watching on the Thrash Maniac 99 YouTube channel, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Horsemen podcast. We have reached episode 10.
10. Too
bad Ty Dillinger's no longer in WWE, so there you go. But
yeah.
Perfect 10.
But yeah, first off, I apologize for my voice still sounding like nails on a chalkboard. I've been trying my damnedest to get my voice back properly. So hopefully by this time next week it will be back. But aside from that, welcome to episode 10, and this week we're going back to our usual format of lists. This time, however, it's going to be interesting. We're going to be talking about our 10 favorite non-metal bands, or non-metal artists, as we prefer to call it. But before we get started, let me introduce you all to the people who are new watching the show, to the rest of the Horsemen. First, for the first time on the show in quite a while, Mr. Raphael Fireblade. And then right above him, our favorite German chick, Hannah Klein.
Hello, good evening, good day.
And then the big bastard in the middle who takes up all the spotlight is Horror Master, a.k.a. Ricky.
Hello.
Then again, he's got a kick-ass t-shirt, so it's fair.
Yeah.
And I'm just stuck wearing my own work shirt, because my Broken Hope shirt's in the laundry. And then last but certainly not least, the most insane Portuguese dude, or Portugal dude, Arthur Felipe Castana, right above me.
It's like me?
Yeah. Typical us. Typical Artur always wanted to be the comedian here. Then again, I'm up there with him too.
Germans don't do comedy.
Moments. We all have our comedian moments.
All right, so for this episode, we're talking about our 10 favorite non-metal artists, whether it be in rock or other types of music. Now, let me preface this. This list was kind of difficult for me to construct because I completely forgot to make this list a while back, and I had to come up with 10 off the top of my head.
Shame on you!
I know.
Shame.
Then again, I've been out of my mind.
Shame.
I've been out of my mind with this cold. It's like it's fucked me up. But couple of notes with perhaps my list or maybe other people's list. I left off borderline metal bands you could consider metal. Some would probably not, like Scorpions, maybe Rush, Van Halen, AC/DC. I excluded them off my list and went with bands that are Deep Purple, Zeppelin. So I wanted to keep it outside of metal, but still within the hard rock realm or perhaps other styles of music. And before we get to our actual list, if anybody has any honorable mentions, go ahead. I didn't have any, and I will let Hannah start, since she raised her hand like a good school.
She's in school.
I'm everyone's teacher today.
Oh, I will be. Yeah. Well, the thing with my list is that I also excluded every hard rock act because I think they're too closely related to metal. The only hard rock bands that I want to point out at this point are harder bands. I want to point out are Raised Fist, which are a hardcore band from Sweden, which are awesome, and Demon Head, which are a hard rock band from Denmark. But except for that, I'm keeping quiet about hard rock, and I have quite a few honorable mentions. I'm not going to talk a lot about them. So I want to mention Jet Majesty, PG Loss, Slow Dive, Mogwai, Explosions in the Sky, Johnny Cash, Depeche Mode, Gorillaz, and last but not least, Ennio Morricone, which is an amazing film music score writer from Italy. But yeah, I've got too many, so I'm not going to say anything.
Alrighty, Ricky.
Well, I just have 2 honorable mentions. Okay, the first one is basically a subgenre, or not really a subgenre, but like a movement, which is the first British invasion. You know, bands like the Beatles, the Who, the Stones, the Kings, the Yardbirds. I know I'm forgetting more others, but you know, I like that 60 vibe. You know, that early British stuff. You can add Jimi Hendrix to that list, but it's more American. Than we know he was in the British invasion in a way. But yeah, I know there's once in a while like to play like Sgt. Pepper or maybe something like the Who. Just relax. And your honorable mention is Michael Jackson. And I know one of you guys is gonna have Michael Jackson on their list, so I wanted to give the opportunity to someone else to talk about him. But it's the king of pop. What more can I say?
And a huge fan of Queen as well.
Alrighty, Artur.
I have none. I mean, I was thinking about putting here some honorable mentions, but the only ones that I can think straight out of my head. But this one is more of a Portuguese thing. It's one of the singers because it's a traditional stuff that we hear in the country, and it's something that you could be a metalhead and listen, you could not be and listen to it as well. But that's more just a personal thing. But big honorable mention, none whatsoever.
Alright, well, I actually do have one honorable mention, and I don't know about this, but my honorable mention, Eminem. I do have a soft spot for good rap, whether it be 90s or Eminem stuff. But Eminem's always the one that I would go to the most if I'm in the mood to listen to hip-hop. Like Slim Shady, that's a good tune. Rap God, I
My
thought
name
from,
is what? My name is what?
My name is. It doesn't matter what your name is. I made that meme. I made that meme on my channel a long time ago, but yeah, and then of course Rap God off of one of his latest albums where he goes so fast, and that got turned into a meme with the egg popping up on the skillet and the song going off. I thought that was pretty funny, but that's my only honorable mention. Raphael, if you're there. I guess he is. I can't tell if he's there or not. Alright, maybe not. Alright, so I guess while we wait for Raphael to come back, let's get on to our actual lists. And keep this in mind with my list. It's not in any particular order. It's just I got 10 bands or artists on my list. Not in any particular order. But to start off, Johnny Cash. So, I mean, Johnny Cash, I despise country music with a passion. But the one country rock artist, Johnny Cash, I mean, you can't go wrong. I mean, he had the rock and roll attitude within that spectrum, which was an added bonus, so... I mean, what else can you say about Johnny Cash?
Some of those songs I would consider something that eventually Blue Saraceno would do, which is dark country. I mean, it does have a bit of a country there, but Johnny Cash is on my list too, so I'll mention it. But, I mean, here you have a guy who has worked with some of the biggest producers in the world. I'll say it since we're talking about Johnny.
What the fuck?
Okay, I'm gonna be here.
I don't know what's happening. Continue.
And actually, one of his biggest, or one of his most known songs, 13, it wasn't he who wrote it. It was Glenn fucking Danzig who wrote the Johnny Cash. I mean, he is country, but he is what Arizona would do later on, which is basically dark country. So Johnny Cash is on my list too as well. So
he's on my list too. Why not? The guy is a country legend to basically rock music in general.
All right, Ricky. Ricky?
He's lagging.
Dave freezing.
He's moving. I don't know if he can hear us. Up and there he is. All right, Artur then.
There we go. All right.
Me? Oh, okay. Let me see if I can do this justice. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting to you from Chicago, Illinois, the delicious music of brothers Jake and Elwood, the Blues Brothers.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
I mean,
especially when Drake and Josh did the cover song of theirs.
Yeah.
Soul Man. Yeah, but I know that they're a parody. I know that they're a parody, but I mean, I always thought that Blues Brothers, they were a group. They had the band.
Me too.
They had everything. And I mean, John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, doing covers or even some original material. But I mean, I still love to this day the Blues Brothers. And doesn't matter if they're a song, they're a skit or whatever. Blues Brothers, everyone. I mean, Sweet Home Chicago, Soul Man, their cover of Rawhide, even inviting Cabby Calloway for Minnie the Moocher. I mean, the original Men in Black, the Blues Brothers.
All right, Ricky. If he doesn't drop, and I think
looks like he's lagging.
Raphael didn't say his, I think.
Yeah, we can go to Raphael's next.
All right. This I had to pick to make sure I can. Bands are not instrumental nor rock. So I'm gonna start with the band The Prodigy, which
the Prodigy.
Which their lead singer recently just died, and they were going on tour. They made an album.
Yeah, Keith Flint apparently was suicide.
Yeah, supposedly. No one really knows why. Which, if you see his interview, he was perfectly fine. Like, he was ready to go on tour. He was ready to release his album, which they did. It's called No Tourness, something like that. So it was kind of strange how he just opened up and just left. And that band became viral back in their times. Especially with the song Firestone.
And Voodoo People.
Yep.
Smack my bitch up.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Hannah.
My number 10 is an artist none of you will know. Because he's from Germany. It's a German singer-songwriter called Peter Heppner. And he used to be in this very influential band called Wolfszeit, which was very, very big at the end of the 80s and 90s here in Germany. But they sadly split, and after that he mostly worked as a solo artist. And it's very typical late 80s pop kind of music. And the thing about him is his voice. I mean, he smokes a lot, but you don't hear it. He has like the voice of an angel. It's very smooth. And I recently saw him live. I was blown away. I mean, I was one of the only young people there, but it was a very, very good concert. I think shortly before Christmas I saw it, and it was amazing. I mean, his voice is awesome. And the thing is, he sometimes sings in English or in German, and you don't really hear it, that he's of German descent. And I kind of like that if people blend in despite not being native speakers, and I simply had to put him on that list. Lovely music, I love it. I can't live without it, and I love it even more. And I'm not rambling.
Alrighty, Ricky.
All right, for number 10, I have two. The first one is Cigarettes After Sex. It's one of those new kind of pop funk bands from, I think, last year they formed, and they had a couple of good songs, some radio hits. You know, when I'm in the car and when it's raining, like there's a song called "Sweet," which is a good love song. And since you guys are kind of like that kind of stuff, and the other band is 21 Pilots. I like 21 Pilots, especially when Suicide Squad came out with that monster of a hit, Heathens, which is my favorite 21 Pilots song. I just love that bass, like kind of makes me want to play bass, even though I can't play bass for shit.
Although they started with 21 Pilots, they ended with Bohemian Rhapsody. So tell me which one of those is better.
Bohemian Rhapsody straight off the bat.
I mean, yeah. I kind of agree, but with 21 Pilots has that kind of bit of a rock influence with a bit of the pop and a bit of the rap. If they were in the 90s, they would have been considered a bit of the new metal movement, but, you know, they're not really that, but they're still pretty good. I like to join from time to time.
They're not
number 10, they're not that bad,
I did like their new song. I think it's called Jumpsuit.
Would I see them live? Maybe. That's a big maybe. Maybe. But yeah, Cigarettes After Sex and 21 Pilots.
Alrighty, now we move on to our number 9s. And Ricky, you can start this one off.
Number 9, the legend herself, Cyndi Lauper.
Oh,
What more can I say? What more can I say about Cyndi Lauper that has already been said before? Exactly. I mean, that's her biggest hit.
Of course. And also, she's one of the most important singers in the pro wrestling business. She worked with Captain.
Oh, yeah.
She needs to go into WWE Hall of Fame, for God's sakes.
No, she has to. For music.
Now I'm going to put you in a tough situation. Before or after Motorhead?
Motorhead.
Motorhead
has to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, but at the same time, she should go in before because she was a little more important.
Plus, she came first.
But like I said, before or after Motorhead?
Well, Cyndi should go first because she was there since like almost the very beginning of when they were doing.
Yeah, if it wasn't for her partnership with WWF at the time, I don't think they would have gotten as popular as they would have. So, but anyways,
yeah, I mean,
yeah, continue more with Cyndi Lauper.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, the music video, Girls Gotta Have Fun, Captain New Albano, that takes the cake.
Of course, him being her father and yelling at her. That was funny. That was funny when he did that.
Yeah, but number 9, Cyndi Lauper.
All right, my number 9. One of my favorite, even though I haven't listened to too many songs from this band, but they did for a short time become somewhat of an obsession of mine for a good short period of time. Genesis.
Oh,
and I'm talking Peter Gabriel era Genesis.
Oh.
I do like Phil Collins. I like Phil Collins, but come on, Peter Gabriel blows Collins out of the water.
But
I will go with Phil Collins. I'm sorry to Peter Gabriel, he's the legend, but Phil Collins is a bit better.
Yeah, no, he's someone else.
Whenever I watch Top Gear,
when Peter Gabriel
I have to listen to Genesis.
I haven't listened to Genesis for years.
I know another guy would agree with you, Ricky, and that's Kamikaze. He's a massive Phil Collins fan. So there's that. But yeah, Genesis, for a short period of time a few years ago, I was listening to nothing but stuff from the 70s by Genesis. Whether it be Supper's Ready, Dancing with the Moonlit Night, or my personal favorite Genesis song, The Knife. Which, if you ask me, was the closest Genesis got to being a metal band to an extent, because very aggressive sounding guitars and drums, but it's a great tune, and I hear AT&T going off.
Yeah, that's
AT&T, knock it off. But yeah, my number 9, Genesis. Hannah.
My number 9 consists of 2 bands that are very similar. Vadruna and Heilung.
Oh, dang.
I mean, both kind of interpret this kind of old ancient Norse music, and it's so the soundscape they produce is so impressive. I mean, I've seen Heilung live. I had goosebumps, and I really want to see Vadruna. I mean, everybody knows them from Vikings, being responsible for the soundtrack, and it's just so awesome. All this chanting and the native instruments and what they create with actually very little. I think their interpretation on this old kind of Norse music is just perfect. And the collaboration of Einar Selvik with Ivar Bjornsson from Enslaved. Can't get in. Skooks, yeah, is so amazing. Can't get enough of that. I mean, this is just holy music for me. To do something with folk and your ancient background, and they are just amazing.
All right, Artur.
My number 9 for say, it also it's going to put a lot of composers there as well. And my number 9, it's Danny Elfman. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Tim Burton's movies, and if there's ever been a dream team in a Hollywood movie in the Hollywood industry, it would be, even though they're not married, Tim Burton, Helena Bonham Carter, Johnny Depp, V. Neil, and Danny Elfman. I mean, his soundtracks are epic. I mean, This Is Halloween, the Corpse Bride song, even though it has that jazzy feeling to it, but a lot of darkness attached to it. I mean, Danny Elfman is simply a genius. His scores on his movies are legend. So, Danny Elfman.
All right, Raphael.
All right, my number 9 would have to be Prince. Which a lot of people don't know that Prince came before Michael Jackson. Some people think he's like trying to be like another version of Michael.
I forgot to put Prince on my list.
But Prince, from before he died, his songs like Purple Rain, Green, Gold have gone to the viral list you can ever find. Especially when he made the movie Purple Rain, even though he was kind of a douchebag in that movie, especially from slapping that woman. Prince will always be a legend, no matter what.
And one might say Velveteen Dream's inspiration for his character.
Yep.
Alrighty, so now moving on to number 8, and I will let Hannah start this one.
I'll be right back again.
My number 8 is kind of similar to Johnny Cash, but a lot more recent. It's Nergal's side project, Me and That Man. His collaboration with John Porter. And I mean, they've only released one album, and it's kind of very dark, country folk kind of music with a bit of rock. But I like that record so much. Just the combination of the two voices and the rather simplistic approach that is so different to Behemoth. And I saw them live, and it was just a very fun concert, and I wish they would tour again. And now that John Porter is out of the band, I don't know where Nergal is going to head with this project, but I hope he's going to continue his way, because he can certainly pull off writing country music.
Which nobody would expect from one of the masters of Black and Death, you know.
No, actually, yes, because he had this side project called Wolverine at the early 2000s, and it's kind of similar to Me and That Man, but a little bit less on the countryside. So I wasn't that surprised, but I really like it.
Alrighty, Artur, you're number 8.
My number 8 is also going to be another composer, another score composer, so to say. I was thinking on putting John Williams due to his Star Wars, but there's one that deserves to me a whole lot better. I mean, if you know these names, if you saw spaghetti westerns, you probably know the Italian Ennio Morricone. I mean, Ecstasy of Gold, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly for a few dollars more. His soundtracks today are still legendary. He even produced some for both Inglourious Basterds and Django Unchained when Quentin Tarantino asked for it. So
awesome.
Exactly. And still in his 90s, and still going around the world performing with orchestras, all those great soundtracks. Like I said, I was thinking John Williams here, but Ennio Morricone deserves a whole lot more. So, Ennio Morricone, my number 8.
Alrighty, my number 8, similar to Genesis, I was obsessed with this band for their first album in particular for a good long period of time, and I still will go back and listen to it occasionally. King Crimson. I love that first album, In the Core of the Crimson King. Masterpiece of prog rock, folk, avant-garde, what have you. Especially those songs Epitaph and the title track at the end. Those are haunting tracks for a prog folk rock album. So, and then of course I got some other cool songs afterwards, like Red, Starless, and whatnot. But yeah, my number 8, King Crimson. Ricky.
Alright. My number 8 is again Ty. First of all, David Bowie.
Oh,
always on my list too.
You're always on my list as well. A legend, man.
I mean, David Bowie is one of those legends that, inspired so many of the shock rock artists and the progressive movement. I mean, it's David Bowie. What more can I say? I mean, this iconic eye. I mean, yes, the double colored eye. And the lightning bolt, yeah. The
Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars.
Oh yeah, his alter ego.
got from. The second option is, let's see if I can find it. Lady Gaga.
She's on my list.
What?
She's on my list.
Yeah, definitely on mine too.
Yeah, I mean, I like Lady Gaga once or in a while. I mean,
Me too.
Bad Romance. Rah, 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 rah.
Yep.
Rah, 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 rah.
Or Poker Face, Nazis.
Oh god, Poker Face. Anytime I hear that song, I think of South Park now.
Bad Romance. It's a better song for me.
Yeah.
But Lady Gaga takes a lot of inspirations from David Bowie, and she's a metalhead, which I totally forgot to mention in our previous episode, that she's a full-on metalhead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she is.
He is.
pretty much every artist you hear these days, half majority always like metal.
Yeah, but
They're mainstream.
this we talked
Majority.
about in the last episode. What are the ones that? What are the ones that are? I don't like to say that are actually preaching to the choir, and what are the others that are just saying? For,
Yep,
I think Lady Gaga still preaches, so to say.
of course.
All right, Raphael, you're number 8.
My number 8 would have to be Eminem.
Oh, again.
Eminem. Yeah. But Eminem, the guy, yeah, he's kind of a Looney Tune. We all know that, especially when he wrote a song of Kim, dedicating that to his ex-wife.
Yeah.
And he's even made a song for a horror movie called Amityville. And he's probably one of the best producer artists or one of the greatest dissers in the world.
Yeah,
Like,
he
even Nick Cannon.
dissed Fred Durst pretty bad. Thank
Yeah,
God.
he did.
This is everyone.
And yeah, he kind of Fred Durst. His band is okay, but he's kind of a douchebag.
That would be the understatement of the millennium.
Yeah, he's kind of a douchebag. But even Nick Cannon is even one of them in Wildin' Out because he knows he'll diss him very well, especially since he was the former boyfriend of his ex-wife Mariah Carey.
Alrighty, now moving on to our number 7s, and Raphael, I'll let you begin.
Number 7. Let's see. I'm gonna go with David Bowie on this one because David Bowie is phenomenal. Also, his cameos were hilarious. He's even done a lot of voice acting in his time. And for a guy that was literally almost dying from cancer, very dying, he still said, you know what, I'm going to make another song. I don't care if I'm sick. I'm going to create the Black Star. And with so much energy David Bowie has. He even said he's not, and his friends even say he has the heart of a lion.
And I know our pal Kamikaze would definitely agree, and I would guarantee you David Bowie would have been like up there on his list if he was here. I was gonna get him here for this episode, but because he had to work, he couldn't make it. But he's here with us in spirit because he would have loved to have done this episode. My number 7. Yeah. My number 7. Creedence Clearwater Revival, CCR. I mean, I have a soft spot for classic rock because that's what I grew up on from my parents and my brothers.
I see the bad horizon.
Yeah.
How many times have you heard everywhere, Fortunate Son? Have you ever seen the rain and such?
Yeah, I mean, those are timeless classic rock tunes. So, there you have it. CCR, my number 7. Hannah, your number 7.
Mine?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You, Hannah.
Okay, my number 7 is ABBA.
Oh, her.
I mean, who doesn't like a bit cheery Swedish music once in a while? And I mean, every song they've written is great, and it's not crap.
Recently.
And I simply love to spin it once in a while. I mean, listen to some Gimme, 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 Lay All Your Love on Me, Waterloo, and all those great songs, Voulez-Vous, and I mean, everything about them is perfect in my opinion, and I get happy from it. So, why not?
Oh boy.
That was out of left field, so to say.
Alright, Artur, you're number 7 before I lose my mind again.
But just like Anna's was out of left field, mine is going to be as well. I've put in some hip-hop artists here as well. And this one, can be a bit shocker, but the insane clown posse. I mean, I did listen.
Those guys are on my list as well. But
I've
those
listened
guys,
to a lot of hip hop. I do like some classic stuff like Run DMC, Sugar Hill Gang, and all that stuff. But I don't know. I was felt more attracted to ICP than I would listen. And it's not because of WCW, Vampiro, and all that stuff. It's because of their songs. I mean,
yeah, and they even
their
paid a
songs
tribute to
are-
Chris Benoit.
Oh,
Exactly.
God.
I mean, they are renegades for a reason. I mean, juggalos, they can be treated as fans, but juggalos a gang. Get the F out of
Get
here.
out of here. That's
Get
just
outta here.
that's like their catchphrase mostly, the juggalos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but Slipknot also calls their fans maggots, and they're no gang, so to say.
Yeah.
But
It's
but
a
I mean,
catchphrase.
my number 7 will be my number 7 is ICP, the Insane Clown Posse.
All right, Ricky, you're number 7.
My number 7, we talked about the King of Pop. We talked about the Prince of Pop. I guess we're just missing the Queen of Pop, which is Madonna.
Definitely.
I'm not a big fan of Madonna, like the later years, but her 80s stuff to me is the what always wants me comes back to her. I mean, like a Virgin, it's probably her biggest hit. I mean,
Material
she's-
Girl.
Yeah.
It's
Like a virgin. Hey.
he's like started glitching himself there.
I mean, there's no denying she's a legend. I'm not even sure if she's in the Hall of Fame, and if she's not, I think
Put
she
her
should
in.
get in.
Whatever. The Hall of Fame is rigged anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it's rigged, but I know. But yeah, number 8, Madonna. Number 7, Madonna.
All right, and now we get to the number of the beast, the number 6. And my number 6 is another timeless classic, Leonard Skinner.
Leonard Skinner.
I mean, of course, Freebird.
Home Alabama.
Yeah, Sweet Home Alabama. But I'm more partial to the song Saturday Night Special. That's a great party tune. And if I were to create like the perfect NASCAR video game soundtrack, that would be a song on the list. Would be Saturday Night Special by Leonard
Traveling
Skinner.
Man too. I love that. I love Traveling Man. It's a good driving song. It's a good chill out song. And although I like the original
Okay,
version
I'll be right back.
With Johnny Van Zandt, I did like the duo that they did, Ronnie and Johnny.
Yeah.
Newer version.
Alrighty, Artur, number 6.
It's another hip hop. It's another hip hop group. But I'm going with the kings of what would become gangster rap, NWA. Straight out of Compton. I mean, I do enjoy
Fuck
that
the
classic hip
police.
hop. Exactly. I mean, and it was from that group NWA where things got serious. I mean, hip hop wasn't just about cool stuff and goal or whatever. It became real. I mean, they were thinking about real themes, about police brutality, wars, and stuff, way before possibly Megadeth were somewhat Megadeth were doing before. But nevertheless, every artist from that group has kind of become a great success. I mean, Ice Cube, you can see him everywhere. He did songs and stuff. Dre, the one who found hip-hop, who found Eminem and 50 Cent to join. I mean, NWA still rocks, still to this day.
That's my number 6. Also,
Well, there you go.
Go ahead.
So I guess while we wait for Raphael to return, we shall move on to our number 5s.
I
Oh yeah, I forgot, Hannah, you're number 6.
Come on, don't forget.
sorry. Well, I have 2 artists on my number 6. The first is King Dude, amazing singer songwriter. Dark neo folk country kind of mix with a bit of rock from saw him live. I mean, I never seen somebody drown a whole bottle of whiskey during a concert and still sing that well. Just awesome. And then the other artist on number 6 is Mark Lanigan, who of course is famous for working with Screaming Trees, Queens of the Stone Age, and so many more. And his voice is simply divine. I saw him quite recently with Duke Garwood. I mean, he could literally sing the telephone book, and it would sound amazing. His voice is like refined whiskey or whatever, with lots of cigars thrown in the mix. Simply amazing guy, and I can't get enough of both singer-songwriters. They should be a lot more known than they actually are.
Alrighty. Now we get into our top 5s, and Artur, you shall begin.
It's good.
I have 2 kings in my number 5. One of them is the king of pop, Michael Jackson. I mean, Thriller will be forever the most sold album in the world. I know that of what he did, although that Living Neverland documentary has some major time and place flaws, but nevertheless, the artist was great. And I still listen to some of his music time to time, and I don't care if it gets banned or not. And the second, the real king of rock, it's not Elvis. Good golly, Miss Molly, show much about it. Little Richard. I mean, he was great. I mean, even his anthems like Good Golly, Miss Molly, Tutti Frutti, Longtail Sally, and such are still music that is played to this day. You can put a little bit between rock and pop as well, but come on, to me, Little Richard is more king of rock than Elvis, and also for someone at his age, still played on Muhammad Ali's birthday celebration when he was still alive. Thumbs up.
All right,
Michael Jackson and Little Richard.
All right, my number 5. Keeping on with the classic rock theme, Steve Miller Band. I like me some Steve Miller Band because that was always a go-to for my mom and dad on the radio when I was a little kid. Anytime we would play in our area, it's 107.5, all things classic rock. And 9 times out of 10, every day you would hear a Steve Miller song, whether it be The Joker or I Fly Like an Eagle or Keep On Rockin' Me Baby. Those are timeless classic rock tunes.
Abracadabra, it's a good one.
So yeah, my number 5, Steve Miller Band. Ricky, your number 5. Ricky? Oh, number 5. Ricky? Oh, there you are.
Something acting up with my headphones. Anyway, number 5, the Commodores / Lionel Richie. I mean, the Commodores. Lionel Richie started with the Commodores, even though he became more famous after the Commodores. But still, the Commodores are one of those pop groups alongside Earth, Wind, and Fire that.
And I was like,
yeah, he just lagged again. All right, there he is.
Oh boy, everyone's
Anyways, continue, Ricky.
Oh. But like I said, Little Richo and the Commodores are just two of the groups that I grew up with. Makes me want to like dance a lot, and like I said, paved the way for African Americans to break that glass ceiling. Even though like people like Baby King, that kind of started that movement. Leno Richo and the Commodores took that even further into the mainstream. So yeah, the Commodores and Leno Richie are number 5.
Nice. Hannah, you're number 5.
Well, since Ricky already spoke about dancing, I was on a concert yesterday, and seeing Perturbator live. And they are on my number 5, together with Carpenter Brut, and both bands are known for this kind of 80s synthwave revival sound movement they're kind of leading, and they basically sound like the soundtrack of Tron and all those 80s movies, and it just makes you so happy to listen to it and makes you want to dance. And I saw Perturbator the first time at Grasspop last year, and I was blown away because usually on a metal fest, I mean, all you listen to is metal. And then I just walked into this party tent, and it was so amazing. I mean, the audience was dancing, the security was dancing, and simply amazing. And yeah, makes you dance, makes you happy, everything you want from music, apart from when you're listening to depressive black metal.
Alright, well, since Raphael is back, what are your number 6 and number 5?
Number 6 would have to be the band Kiss. The reason I choose Kiss is because people may say, okay, they are a glam metal band, but if you hear their music, they're not really glam metal at all. They're like a hard rock mixed with pop, mixed with a lot of alternative. And Gene Simmons, Peter Criss, Paul Stanley, Ace Finley, all legends to the 80s music. Especially with their hit song, All Rock and Roll All Night.
Yeah. As meanwhile, Ricky and Hannah, I guess, are having their stuff getting crashed.
They're glitchy moments there. Bad internet. And my number 5 would have to be... Well,
really funny vegetable too.
Technical difficulties, it's bound to happen.
Yeah, I know. That's it. Okay. Number 5, I'm gonna have to go with what band can match this, what artist.
And Hannah said she had to go restart her laptop. She'll be back in a few
Yeah.
moments.
Well, meanwhile, I'm still trying to think about what to get number 5.
Yeah, he's struggling now.
I'll choose the old boy band NSYNC.
Oh, no.
Just or better yet, you want me to change it? I'll change it better to how about Backstreet?
Oh, God, I feel like I'm dying right now.
He's lost his mind with NSYNC. I'll just leave NSYNC.
Oh, boy. What has happened? What has happened to my sanity today? Alrighty, well, alright, now we've all caught up, and we're now moving on to number 4. My number 4, we talked about her already, Lady Gaga. I mean, I'll say this. Yeah, a lot of modern pop is shit, and that's just putting it lightly. That's putting it lightly. But there's something about Lady Gaga that I always gravitated to because when I was in high school, like particularly sophomore, junior years, I would be on the bus and the radio would be on, and it was our mix station 99.3 out here in West Portsmouth, and 9 times out of 10 I would hear Bad Romance, and I thought, damn, that's actually a catchy tune. And then Poker Face, of course, like I said earlier, now whenever I hear of Poker Face, I think of that parody on South Park of Cartman doing it. I don't give a crap about whales, so go and hug a tree. So that's an added bonus. But yeah, Lady Gaga, my number 4. Artur, your number 4. The magic number for the 4 Horsemen.
I'll skip my number 3 and my number 4 because we already talked about them so much about my number 3. I'll say it. My number 3 is Johnny Cash. I've talked about it so many times. That's why when I don't know who said it before, I just put on my 5 cents. And number 4 is another one that I can't add anything to it. My number 4 is David Bowie. My number 3 is I'll just skip my number 3.
All right, Ricky, you're number 4. Ricky, you're number 4.
Ricky.
Ricky.
No.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Can't hear us.
He can't hear us. That was weird. All right, Hannah, you're number 4.
My number 4 is Priest. Not Judas Priest, but Priest, which are an electronic band from Sweden. The guy behind Priest actually was a member of Ghost, and they kind of started out as this kind of rip-off of Ghost, but with electronic music. And they're very catchy. I mean, they sound like they're from the 80s, but kind of fresh at the same time. It's just a great mixture of this electronic music with very powerful vocals. They have this kind of gimmick. They're all wearing leather masks. And I can't wait to see them in a month. I will see them in Oberhausen supporting Aesthetic Protection. And I can't wait to see them. They've only released 1 album. You should check it out. It's amazing.
Someone's laughing their ass off out there.
Yeah.
Somebody seems to have quite a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, Rick just glitched himself again.
Well, while we wait on that, Raphael, you're number 4.
Number 4, we're gonna have to go with the one we talk about all the time, Lady Gaga. no one can forget that woman's music. I mean, if you look at her looks, she puts a whole mess of weird outfits and stuff. But according to her, she says she has meaning behind it. I mean, live, she even wear a meat outfit out of all things.
She's a vegetarian.
Yeah. But at first, I'll be honest, I thought Lady Gaga was tall, but she's actually a very small woman.
Yeah, it's them platform boots, which black thigh-high boots, always good by me. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And we can't forget all her hit songs anyway. So especially the South Park parody, that was hilarious.
Yeah, now she's
oh my God, you
and now she's
you killed Daddy.
And now she's transitioned into being an actress and already having a hit movie with Bradley Cooper. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And now she's blocked by Bradley Cooper's wife, Irina Shayk.
Supposedly it's a rumor saying they're together, and then they say, "Oh, she's gonna get married with this guy." It's a whole mess of nonsense.
Yeah, it's all messed up.
And I will never forget her part in Machete. Machete Kills. That was funny.
Yeah.
She was like a chameleon type of character.
Yeah.
Oh, that was hilarious.
Bowie reference.
Yeah.
He was known as the Camille.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, yeah. Well, alright, hopefully now that Ricky's here. Can you hear us, Ricky?
Can you hear us, Rick?
Hello, Ricky.
Hello, mate.
Ricky?
Ricky, can you hear us?
Anybody home?
I think something's wrong with his volume or something.
It's either his volume or he's got too many people screaming in the background of this.
Yeah,
Or
well,
laughing.
What is with headphones too?
Yeah. Could be they just
let's
waste
try
audio.
a little something Texan. It's John o'clock, mother.
fuckers, I can't believe it!
Howdy, hi.
Alright, I guess
Come
while we wait for Ricky's volume to return, we'll move on to number 3. And I shall let Hannah begin.
My number 3 is Ulver.
Over.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't consider Ulver a metal band ever since Nutton's Madrigal came out. I mean, the themes from Williams Blake's The Marriage of Heaven and Hell is hardly a metal album, it's rather more experimental. And ever since then, they've only gotten more experimental. I mean, their latest record, The Assassination of Julius Caesar, sounds more like a mixture of The Cure and Depeche Mode than anything else, and I love it. I have this kind of soft spot for this 80s revival music or 80s music in general, and Ulver perfectly managed to capture this kind of synth pop on the latest records. And even the EP they released with bonus material from The Assassination of Julius Caesar called Sic Transit Gloria Mundi, it's awesome. And for me, Ulver aren't really a metal band. They are, I can't even classify them. They are something of their own, kind of this musical enigma. And I simply have to honor that. I listen to them so often, and they have to be honored.
Alright, Rick. Damn it, just as I was gonna get to
It's gone again.
Alright, my number 3. We always keep bringing up kings and queens and whatnot. And I am here to present to you the kings of punk, the Ramones. At number 3.
Good. That was a good
I mean, the Ramones, I mean, what can you say? I mean, 70s classics.
voice.
The inventors of American punk, and one of the inventors of punk in general.
I mean, they formed in '74. Most punk bands were 70, 75, 76.
Yep.
True.
And of course, without the Ramones, there wouldn't be bands like Black Flag, Misfits, Metallica, or
Pistols.
yeah, Sex Pistols. Really, anything that came after the Ramones wouldn't exist without the Ramones. That was fast.
Speaking of that, if you notice the lead singer of Lamp of God, he's not really a metal fan. He's a straight up punk.
He's more of a punk guy, of course, yeah. Randy Blythe.
Yeah, he plays metal music. Yeah.
Even though he loves metal, he's more of a punk guy. Kind of like Derek Green of Sepultura, he's more of a punk guy than a metal guy as well.
I think that the more metal guys in Lamb of God are the Adler brothers.
Yeah.
Oh, that.
Absolutely. And of course, Artur already brought up his number 3. Raphael.
Yes,
My number 3, I'm gonna have to go with Billy Idol.
Ooh, Billy Idol.
Yeah, Billy Idol.
Aquí en la tienda tiene que recoger a ella.
Sí. Ok, mijo.
I'll say it.
Ok,
Alright,
Okay, Billy Idol. I choose Billy Idol due to the fact that he's an iconic singer, amazing, and his work from White Wedding to Rebel Yell, and when he tried the hard rock scene, he did a good job with Shock to the System, Scream. Just phenomenal. in my opinion. And a lot of people cover till this day White Wedding.
Even Dora Pesh covered White Wedding too.
Wednesday 13th, too, with his murder man.
All right, Ricky, can you hear us again? Can you hear us, Ricky? Damn.
Nope.
He's going.
I think he should go somewhere more quiet. Maybe he could hear us better.
Yeah, I think that would definitely help. All right, well, I guess while we wait for Ricky to get his stuff together, we'll move on to number 2. And it says Discord's not allowing him to enter. That's weird. He was able to get in just fine. I don't know.
Yeah.
Technical difficulties reign supreme on this show.
Yeah, they do.
All right, I'll have to edit this part out. I'm going to see if I can remove him and then add him back. See if that helps. Come on. Come on. Oh, pay attention to me, Discord. Alright, while we're on this little break, let me see what all was... Alright, there we go.
There he is.
Ricky, can you hear us? Can you hear us, Ricky?
Ricky!
Can you hear us?
Only Ricky's name votes.
Can you hear us?
I don't think you can.
He took off his headphones, so now that we can hear us. And he put us on mute.
Or he put his mic on mute.
Hello, Ricky.
Come on, work your stupid thing.
Ricky!
He's back! Not my head.
We haven't had this bad of technical difficulties in quite a while.
Yep. I don't know, it normally happens when all 5 of us are in the podcast.
Yeah, it seemed to be, because whether it was the 4 of us or just 3 of us, it would be fine, but I don't know.
And my Discord just keeps crashing and telling me that my mic is not working, yet it is.
Yeah,
it's just weird, and then I can't hear Ricky half of the time.
I mean, it's working right now for some weird reason. Oh shit, it's not working.
Oh, damn it, I was about to celebrate.
Okay. Wait.
Did you hear me?
I heard you were about to celebrate. I heard that.
Okay, alright, then you're
Can you
fine.
hear me?
Yeah, we could hear you, we just thought you couldn't hear us. And now he probably doesn't hear us again.
I got an idea. How about you send him a message through Messenger and ask him if he could say his number 3? Maybe that'll work.
Hold on a second.
I mean, okay. I can hear you now. I can see you now.
All right.
Hi,
I'm not
Ricky.
sure I can hear
Okay,
you.
All right.
please.
Try.
I mean, I can kind of hear you guys, but sometimes like it's not the internet connection because it's working, but for some weird reason like it doesn't like add up.
That must be Discord.
Yeah, it's probably
It must be
Discord.
Discord or.
Yeah.
Well, why?
But
since
you're,
you can hear us,
fine
how about-
now, right? Ricky,
No,
it's
he's back
good now, is it?
Yeah, it's good now
Alright.
for the moment.
Alright, well, let's try and power through. Alright, apologies for that little edit. We had terrible technical difficulties, but then again, it's the standard on the Horsemen podcast, mostly because of the lagger over here, who takes up all the spotlight on my screen. But then again, he's got a Bathory shirt on, so it's appropriate. But we were getting ready to get to our top 2, but we haven't gotten your number 4 and number 3 yet. So go ahead. The floor is yours.
Number 4 is Bee Gees. I love the Bee Gees to death. They're one
If
of the
Kamikaze was here, he'd probably have them number 1.
You agree with him? BG, stay alive, man. Just stay alive.
They're one of those groups that in the 70s, when Kiss was big, they were like, we're never gonna write a pop song. They just came along. Pop was huge. Disco was huge. What happened next? Kiss writes, I was made for loving you.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
And BG just came up with Stay Alive.
Oh
How
yeah.
Deep Is Your Love?
I mean, Saturday Night Live. I mean, that iconic. John Travolta walking down the street.
With that white suit.
Yeah. You know what's funny? You look at BGs, you're like, these guys don't look like a disco band at all.
Or that classic joke on Fairly Odd Parents where Cosmo's like, and then there was a backlash. Too much Bee Gees, they said. But continue.
Oh boy.
Oh, does he not hear us again? Son of a motherfucking asshole. Ricky. Meanwhile, our tour has gone completely dark. He's fading to black. Now he's not.
How is it?
It's good.
Fade away.
That's good.
Find myself
There we go.
Fade away and classify myself as obsolete. Oh, Chris here is singing that during an indie show while Matt Hardy's dancing with the referee.
Broken Matt Hardy. I want to see Jeff already release Willow anytime soon.
Hello, Ricky. Oh, he's gone.
Wow.
Or
Ricky.
Brother Nero. I know you.
Brother Nero, I knew you would come.
Ricky, can you hear us
Well, he says
now?
Brother Moore, actually. Brother Moore, I know you would come. I knew you would come.
Ricky.
Brother Moore. Ricky is gone.
Yeah, I'll just. Yeah, I guess what I'll do is we'll just
Cheers.
Ricky.
Ricky, I think you should go somewhere quiet because probably also people in the background.
Yeah.
I think Ricky's face is turning red. Ricky's face is turning red, which is the best part. Oh God, more edits. I'm gonna have to pull off the master editor again.
Definitely in the bloopers.
Yeah, this part will go in at the end.
You do that.
Oh boy.
In the blooper section.
No. He's a robot. What?
Meanwhile, his dimensions are changing. Sometimes he goes like this, and then like this. Alright, well, we'll try and continue. So, yeah, more edits were done there. Of course, more lagger problems. But,
As usual.
but now we're back on track, and we're into our top 2. And, Raphael, you shall begin.
Number 2 was gonna have to be Queen.
Damn straight.
Definitely Queen. Queen is phenomenal. From Freddie Mercury, all the bands out of every 80s band, Queen is one of the top number 1 bands. And they even made Prince of the Universe for a movie called Highlander, Chris Lineberg.
The Highlander theme.
And then from People Rock, you from Bohemian Rhapsody, which is a recent movie that came out, I believe, last year.
Yep.
Just no one can beat Queens as far as influence and phenomenal work. Especially Freddie's voice. No one can beat Freddie's voice.
Yeah.
I was willing to put Queen on the list, but they to me are borderline rock and metal because they have
I would agree.
mostly rock songs, but they have some metal songs as well. Although I don't disagree with
Stone Cold Crazy being a pioneering speed metal song.
True.
So there you go.
Yep,
Seven Seas of Riot.
Sadly, people mostly focus on their what made them famous.
On the hit.
Yeah, the hits, greatest hits.
All right, my number 2, the greatest guitarist of all time, Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, him, definitely.
So, I mean, it's a shame that Jimi Hendrix is no longer with us. He's been gone for nearly 50 years. It's hard to believe it's been that long. Imagine if he was still alive throughout the 70s, the 80s, 90s, he'd probably be a juggernaut by that point. He'd probably be a guitar juggernaut.
And he's probably one of the only guitarists that plays with his team.
Yeah. Could you imagine a guitar duel on stage, in concert, Jimi Hendrix, Eddie Van Halen? Oh my God, that would be amazing.
Hendrix would destroy Eddie Van Halen.
I would make a fatal
Or you can do Hendrix and Van Halen. That would be something.
I would make a fatal 4-way. I would put Hendrix, Van Halen, Knopf, and Levi.
Yeah, that would be an entertaining show to watch, a guitar battle. That would be awesome.
Battle of the guitars.
All right. While everyone else does their number 2, I gotta go take a wicked yes. So I shall let Hannah start her number 2.
I have again 2 bands on my number 2. The first one is Fields of the Nephilim, which are Fields of the Nephilim.
No,
They
I
are
said who because I know it.
They are a gothic rock band from the UK, and in my opinion, one of the big players of gothic rock. And it's just this kind of dark soundscape they create, but it's not metal. It's gothic, clearly gothic rock, and this kind of image they present with this Italo spaghetti Western outfits they're wearing on stage, dusted cloaks and everything, and then you have the singer's voice, very dark, and kind of. In combination with this multi-layered guitars, they have. I mean, it's just music to get lost in a sort of way, and they're very connected with the second band that is also on my number 2, and that is The Cure. The Cure, of course, the big player of gothic rock. I mean, what is there to say? Everybody knows them. They're great, and I saw them live 2 years ago, and it was one of the best concerts I've ever seen. There were people of all ages in this big stadium, but it didn't feel like this usual big stage show that is just.
Anna's down.
Right, both of them trying to go at the same time.
So I come back and there's more technical difficulties.
Again.
So who did Hannah say was her number 2?
The Cure and Fields of Niflheim.
Ah. Alright, Artur.
It's just crashing. But I'm back.
And I just got back too as you crashed, so Artur, you're number 2.
My number 2, I've kind of compressed into one genre, but these are several different artists. I've put the blues, and what I mean about the blues, I mean Muddy Waters, Little Walter, Robert Johnson, Howlin' Wolf. I mean, all that blues stuff that we hear, even sometimes on some of our metal bands. I mean, you can even make the argument that Black Sabbath is a blues band. You still hear a lot of that blues sound, especially in the early Black Sabbath album.
Yeah,
And it was influenced. Hell, even Mick Jagger said that he named his band, the Rolling Stones, after a Muddy Waters song. Eric Clapton, he even owes his guitar tone to Muddy Waters. I mean, all of those blues artists from the 60s and the 70s, all those that are still very much in touch with our memories. Even Chuck Berry. I mean, Chuck Berry, you could say that he has a little bit of rock, but he has also a little bit of blues. So I've put in all of these great blues artists, and one of the best movies that I've seen about that subgenre and about those artists was Cadillac Records, which talks about all of them. So the blues.
and one could even argue early Doom was inspired by the blues as well. The early days of Doom, like Saint Vitus and Trouble and those kind of, especially Witchfinder General. Yeah. All right, Raphael, you're number 2.
Number 2. Well, wait, I already said number 2.
Oh, you already did? Oh. I forget. Well, if Ricky doesn't hear us still, we'll move on to our number 1. Alright, so our number 1, and I shall begin this. Number 1, another prog rock legend, Kansas. I mean,
Dust in the Wind.
Dust in the Wind, Carry On Wayward Son. And of course, they got a bunch of other classic songs that I can't say off the top of my head at this moment. But Kansas, especially Dust in the Wind, that's a song I like to sing along to every now and then when I'm in the mood to listen to symphonic prog. So there you have it. It's like, if you ask me, like, people say Rush is like Led Zeppelin meets Yes. Kansas, to me, is Leonard Skinner meets Yes, essentially. They had that southern rock vibe to their prog sound, which I thought was very, very unique for that time. So, Kansas, my number 1. Hannah, your number 1.
Again, two bands on my number 1. And the first one should be obvious. It's Pink Floyd.
Definitely, yes.
What is there to say? You?
No, continue.
I mean, what is there to say? There's Animals. There's, of course, The Dark Side of the Moon, The Wall, Wish You Were Here, and my personal and the Division band, everything Gilmore era, and my personal kind of secret favorite metal. The record, I just love it, and this sound about it, it's so dreamy. It's David Gilmour's guitar, in my opinion, the best guitar tone ever, and it's just a shame that they're not together anymore. And I personally would always favor David Gilmour over Roger Waters, and I've seen David Gilmour live. Was again similar to The Cure, one of the best non-metal concerts I've ever seen, and I would pay an arm and a leg to see him again. And then the second band that is on my number 1 should also not be a surprise, because I mean, I've talked about them extensively. Magna Carta Cartel, the band of Martin Perschner, who was formerly a member of Ghost, and his band sound, the sound of his band is so similar to Pink Floyd, again with this kind of dreamy rockscape they're creating. I mean, it just invites you to dream, and I love to listen to this kind of dreamy music again. Like all of this atmospheric black metal I'm listening to, but I also get that from rock like Pink Floyd and Magna Carta Cartel, and that's why, without doubt, they're on my number 1.
Artur, your number 1.
My number one is also just like the number two. I've put kind of compressed in a kind of a category. But my number one is classical music. I love listening to classical music, especially some of the great composers like Mozart, Beethoven, Bach, Strauss. Even some of the more modern ones like Andrew Lloyd Webber. I mean, who hasn't listened to Phantom of the Opera? Who hasn't listened to Phantom of the Opera? And I don't mean the Nightwish version. I mean the original Andrew Lloyd Webber movie. And if metal also gets their influence from the blues, it gets its influence from classical music, especially from the more obscure artists like Bach and Strauss as well, who were more in tune with this deeper sound, with this more grandiose sound in those concert halls, especially in Vienna. So my number one is classical music.
All right, Ricky, can you hear us finally?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Finally, now we can get the rest of your list in. Well, first, let's get to Raphael's number one.
Yeah.
Number one is going to have to be the king of pop himself, Michael Jackson. I mean, come on. Michael Jackson's worked with Eddie Van Halen. He's worked with Slash. And he's actually the first black guy to ever turn white.
Oh, God.
Completely.
All right, Ricky, so now that we finally got you back, hopefully. Well, I might have jinxed it.
Okay. Don't worry, I'm still here.
All right.
Still here. I'm still
So before everything went wrong, we left off with your number 4. So you got 4 things to talk about before we wrap up. So go from 4 to 1.
You got 4 tries.
Jesus Christ.
What the fuck?
That's going into bloopers too.
Yeah, that's never going to bloopers. And to Ricky.
Just as I gave him the final say, this happens.
Can you hear us now?
Oh my God. He's raging harder than Kamikaze on a typical Sunday afternoon watching NASCAR. Alright, now I think he's just messing with us at this point.
Or raging like Skip Bayless watching Dallas Cowboys playing.
Poor Ricky, he can't catch a break.
The eternal lagger.
Oh, he's still down and out.
I wish I had a white flag.
I surrender.
Go to France, get one.
Or just go get a follow-up white flag. And just say I surrender.
Oh, my head hurts.
I gave him a prompt.
That's probably the best option there is.
Yeah, just say it.
Just say it. Meanwhile,
I got a Joker smile, Ricky, on the screen. Oh, this is... I don't know which is more disastrous, episode 2 or this.
This was probably the most disastrous.
Mostly Ricky, on Ricky's end. Well, Hannah's crashed out a few times, but it's not been terrible.
But the funny thing is, whenever Ricky is trying to re-enter, my Discord crashes.
Which is so weird.
I mean, it's so weird. Whenever he starts talking, I can't hear him.
He says number 4, the Bee Gees.
Number 4, Bee Gees. 3, Hall & Oates. 2, any Southern rock bands, and number 1, Johnny Cash. As meanwhile, we've got an image of Ricky that will live on forever. Because guess what? I took a picture of his face.
Also, I want to point out something about Michael Jackson. People should stop bringing up what he passed, because none of that stuff is even real.
Yeah.
Because he's dead, and you can't sue the guy anymore. He's gone.
Oh.
It's sad but true.
Oh, Ricky's dying over there.
Everything that is going on, especially
He's
with
like taking a nice selfie.
is
Right
nothing
there.
more than money.
Yeah, nonsense.
You know what? I'm just because this is so funny, I'm just gonna leave the episode as is. Like, it's raw and filtered, just for fun. So, and because every episode is premiering and it's live, there you go. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this train wreck of an episode. I know I did, thanks to Ricky going kamikaze on everyone. And also, I want to give a quick shout out to my friend on Twitter, Catherine Black, because her messages kept popping up on the screen every 10 minutes. So, my favorite Russian girl right there. There you have it. So that pretty much is going to wrap up this episode. Even though it was a train wreck, it was pretty fun, and it was funny at the end because Ricky just lost his mind. So, episode 11 for next time, top 10 black metal albums. It's gonna get bloody, it's gonna get gruesome, maybe not.
And Hannah will love every single moment of it.
Indeed. After all, we are heading towards her territory soon.
Black metal!
But we already also got episode 12 planned for one of my two favorites, death metal. So, there you go. As Ricky's still defeated. Anyways, thank you guys for watching episode 10. Peace out as Ricky tries to get his sanity back.